Hi. I couldn't wait to make another video, I'll be honest. Because I don't know if I could spend the rest of my life just talking about anything to do with spiritual awakening, I'm sure I will. Okay. Um I was reading some stuff today and I got inspired and I continue finding things that I still haven't talked about concerning my spiritual awakening experience. Yeah, because it's just one. um I want to talk about two things that changed due to my spiritual awakening experience, that helped me a lot, at least. And not exactly mentally as a perspective, because I already knew that there is another way of seeing things, and I accepted this other way, but mostly as a soul, as a realization, a deep realization, an opening of my eyes, and making it real for me, apart from just something I have read somewhere or something that I have just thought about. Okay. So these two things, the first one has to do with death and the fear of death. Yeah, the fear of all fears. The second one has to do with a certain victim mentality I had. Well, basically, I mostly had it in my younger years. And by younger, I mean, I don't know, teenage years, even 20s. And okay, I will talk about the death thing first, and then I will talk about the victim mentality. Now, okay, with this it's amazing, because when you have the spiritual awakening, or remember in my case, you stop being afraid of death. That's it. We all have an inherent fear of death. Every fear that we have is a fear of death. It's basically a fear of death. It's not that complicating. It's a fear of death, okay? Whatever happens that a fear of rejection, a fear of abandonment, a fear of failing, I don't know, a fear of whatever, it's like a fear of death. Because like you will stay alone, everybody will leave you, everybody will, and you're reminded of the period where you were an infant and you were powerless and you were dependent on other people and you couldn't do anything on your own, you couldn't survive on your own, you couldn't be safe. So you're dying. Basically, you will be dead, you will die, and you won't survive. So, yes, everything is a fear of death. And the greatest thing, the real greatest thing with spiritual awakening is that you stop being afraid of death. You really stop being afraid of death. Because you know that there is no death. You know that you just leave your body when the time comes, and then you continue going back home. to the spirit world. So your soul is indestructible. Your body, your ego, this thing here, will leave at some point, but your soul won't. Ever. So you just stop being afraid of it. Now, when I was a kid, I already knew that there is no way that when we die, that's it. I always questioned that. Because since I had this strong sense that I was coming from somewhere else when I was a kid, small kid, I knew already that we have two things. Our personality, which is the ego. I call it personality. And I called it character, and I meant the soul. But I knew that we have these two things. And one is who you really are, which is the soul. And the other is constructed, which is our personality, the ego. So I somehow knew that the soul, character, I call it character, cannot, it's who you really are. It's something that has nothing to do with, I don't know, the things that we can touch, anything that is real here. So I felt that this is something that is completely out of this world. So I felt that we don't really die. But I knew it, I somehow knew it intuitively and on a mental level. I questioned on a mental level what we all said, that, you know what, someone dies and that's it. But the good thing with the spiritual awakening is that it's not just some questioning. It becomes a reality for you. And that's amazing, because you start connecting even more with who you really are, with your soul. And also your intuition grows stronger, but you start connecting so much with this, with who you really are, that you start feeling this inner security, this inner knowing that whatever happens, no matter how everything around you can change and, let's say, not last forever, you know that what you have inside this thing that you carry, if you can call that your soul anyway, this thing is always stable. This thing will never leave you. This thing is you. And this thing, this realization gives you the greatest security of all. Gives you a security that you could never have even as an infant. This gives you the security that you can need in every age of your life, even as an adult, because you see, we become adults and we're basically children in adult bodies because we haven't resolved anything. not anything, but we haven't resolved everything from our younger years. So until we resolve it, we are not really adults. But when you realize that security is really in your soul, that changes everything, because you really stop being afraid of death. You know that it continues. You know that the story doesn't end. And you also feel it. You are in the now. You are start operating, being in the now, being in the present. Because that's what really happens, to be honest. There's no time. It's always now. No future, no past. It's always, we made it this way because we want to, function, obviously. But in reality, there's no such thing. There's always now. So, do you understand this? You're always in the now, and that makes you secure. Connecting to your soul, listening to your intuition, knowing that you don't die, and being in the present, that gives you so much security. Trust me on that. Because you start listening to who you really are. And nothing can be more secure than that. This thing, who you really are, is so massive, guys. So powerful, so massive. It's amazing. Okay, the second thing I wanted to say is, like I said, the victim mentality. You start realizing that events and challenges that you have lived, that you have faced, even abuse. I've been a victim of narcissistic abuse in my life, so yes, it was difficult. Had issues with my self-worth because of that. But the moment I started learning about this pattern with my self-worth coming from other lifetimes too, and repeating it even to this lifetime until I learn it. And then not repeating in other lifetimes, I hope. So, but the good thing with the victim mentality, because that's what I want to stress, is that you choose your challenges. You choose the people who will challenge you, to put it this way, even abuse. And the reason that your soul chooses that is not to make you suffer. It's to help you learn. Because the soul, plenty of times, wants you, as your ego personality, to understand who you really are. And sometimes it does it through opposition. It can give you through abuse, for example, through challenges, through obstacles, what you don't want or who you are not, so that you realize who you are. And stand up for yourself. Say, this is who I am. This is not who I am. And grow stronger and more empowered. But sometimes the soul chooses such challenges, difficult situations, so that you arrive at the point to say, this is who I am, and this is what I want. But you see, in order for it to happen, sometimes you need the obstacles. It won't happen in an easy way. So yes, when you do realize this, and to be honest, I started realizing anyway through psychotherapy. But because I started working with my issues, taking my power back, as they say, but this thing with the spiritual awakening was like the top of the top, because you start realizing that your soul chose this. You have the power to create whatever you want in every lifetime, and you do that because you want to evolve. You want to become better and better. You want to learn, you want to evolve, you want to create. That's amazing. So yes, that's... You start understanding, basically. You start making realizations. Yeah. Okay, that's it. I won't say no more today. I will keep 4 other videos as well. Okay. Okay, bye guys. Have a good night. It's Chris here. It's night time. Bye.